customary for these occasions, I'll kick off the questions, but I'll be coming to you shortly. First off, Deborah, what was it that attracted you to Daniel Woodrell's book?
This book was a really enticing read when my creative partner, Anne Rosalini, who produced the film, and when we read the book. It was a book that we read cover to cover, hadn't done that in a long time. I mean, we read it in 1 or 2, 1.5 sittings. Very quickly, I was very drawn in, she was drawn in, and we were trying to imagine what this girl's life would really be like, and were the places described in Daniel's novel very fictionalized, or was there some, if we went to Missouri tomorrow, what would we find in that particular region of southern Missouri? And really enjoyed how many facets of Ree there were, and that she seemed like such a strong and rich female protagonist, and we were definitely looking for that. We were looking for a story that we would feel excited and that we knew that would attract an interesting cast, and this really fit the bill on a lot of fronts, and the fact that it was also very doable as a small film, the fact that the story takes place within a confined amount of time, that all those signs were like good omens that this was within our reach to make.
And one of the many strengths of the film is how real this, you managed to make, how believable you've made this world. How did you go about making sure you got that?
The process of making a film far away from what you know and where you've been raised up, it definitely, it's not going to happen unless you click in and make powerful bonds with people in their local community. And we did that through, it was a long process of going down to southern Missouri, having a particular person in the community that was very trusted read the book and read our screenplay so he knew the content of the material. And then if he liked it, if he felt like it was worthy, there was a really good possibility that he would then decide to work with us and endorse the project to his friends and neighbors, and that is what happened. And he had no prior film experience, but he was definitely intrigued, and he was someone who was very knowledgeable about his area on the level of history, a very self-taught, called him this sort of Ozarks Renaissance man, because he was someone that explored the caves and the really rich geology and topography of the Ozarks, and just had a deep love for his region. And the fact that he felt good about the material in the film, and the fact that he could then conjure, like he could start matching. He would say, well, Teardrop's house could be here. I can imagine a family's holler that has 4 different dwellings on it, and I think that they would match up to these characters. So within a 7-mile radius of his home, he linked us up to friends and neighbors that had places that seemed like they fit the description in the book really well. And from there came sort of contributions of vehicles and clothing, and it ended up being that we had kind of, I would say, this group of advisors, local people that had started to invest in the film emotionally and through their sweat equity, and so it went from there. And so that was a very, very positive part of this film. But there was no way we, at one point, when some West Coast entity was possibly going to be involved before they freaked out and backed out, the notion that we might have sets came up, and the idea that we would, create a scene for the pond scene with paraffin and a frozen pond that would be a set. These were all ideas that were coming out of a bigger budget, and it's not my natural inclination for filmmaking. So I guess in the end, it turned out so well when the plug was pulled on the larger incarnation of this film. Anne and I got to make it in a way that felt really commensurate with what we'd like to do, and in the end, it was like a big blessing because it enabled us to stay really close to the ground and work more in a grassroots fashion.